coming to this session. So I'm going to introduce our two presenters on decoding transfers, what we've learned from listening. We have Ashley Caldwell, who's our Assistant Director of Transfer Recruitment, as well as Morgan Clonts, who is our Enrollment Communication Specialist.
All right, I'm a mover, so. All right, so we kind of did a small introduction here, but again, Morgan. I serve in our admissions office as Enrollment Communication Specialist. And what that boils down to, our prospective students, our admitted students, inquiries, prospects, we communicate to social media as well. We do a lot of different channels to make sure we get that information across to our students.
And hi, I'm Ashley Caldwell, and I'm the Assistant Director for Transfer Recruitment in Admissions Office. So in addition to me, we have Katie Agers, which is our Transfer Coordinator, and Katie and I kind of tackle the transfer population, also readmits, post-facs, and kind of everyone else that we serve in our office besides freshmen, which Jared Markson takes care of those. Oh wait, go back. Throughout our presentation, you're going to see these lovely little florks. We decided to jazz up our presentation and make it a little fun today, so these are our cartoon personalities.
We often share these to each other because we feel like this is us in a nutshell. So you'll see them there, you can ignore them, but it's very true to us and our teamwork here. So.
All right, so today we're going to start off talking a little bit more about national transfer data, and then we'll kind of skew it down and talk about what our UCM transfer students are doing. So just overhead national data, there are community college enrollment is up 3%, which is double what four-year universities are doing right now. And that makes up transfers of 13% of all undergrad populations nationwide. So with this, the state of transfers nationally, they're expanding. Community colleges are expanding, especially in vertical transfers. So for those that you don't know, vertical transfers are students that are coming from community colleges up to 4 years, and horizontal are those going from 4-year to 4-year. So with 41% of the transfers still being the vertical route. Students who transfer with a credential, such as an associate's degree, are nearly 20% more likely to earn a bachelor's degree. And we did get this from the National Student Clearinghouse data, which we use quite a bit in our office.
All right, so now to what our own students are saying. So Dr. Ann McCoy, she surveyed our UCM new transfer students, spring 26. And so over here you'll see kind of the factors in decision to transfer to UCM that we're going to kind of focus on too. But some quick stats over here. These students are mature, responsible. 37% of those transfers actually support dependents or family. 34% work 21 or more hours off campus, which is pretty huge. They are educational consumers. 94% actually know or have a plan to pay for college. And then the certainty of major. So this really aligns with our factors in decision to transfer to UCM and their value of the availability of the major. And so they aren't really exploring, but they want to get to that end goal, and that comes from that major. So. All right. So we're going to talk. Oh, there goes. Awesome.
We'll share.
Yeah. Not like we don't share everything else. So we're going to talk about transfer mindsets today, and so I'm going to let Ashley kind of go through this, but we had done some deeper looking into transfers and behavior patterns. Big research gal myself. And Cora has what we call transfer mindsets. So these are something that we've looked into, we're continuing to look into, and really is going to shape a lot of our presentation today. So.
Like Morgan said, we do a lot of research within our office, mainly with RNL and Cora. And so you'll hear us using Cora a lot through different surveys we'll send out, and just we're constantly learning from them. And we also attend a lot of their conferences. So what are transfer mindsets? So transfer mindsets are behavioral and psychological profiles that categorize transfer students based on motivations, life circumstances, goals, just like family, kind of everything that makes up the personality behind the student. And transfer mindsets help students move beyond generic, or staff move beyond generic messaging and get a little more tailored and a little more personal with the students. And how our goal in our office, how we want to start using these mindsets, is so we can start being more strategic and student-centric with our communications and messaging to our students, as well as personalizing our recruitment and making tailored marketing and communications that speak to their individual needs and the person behind the application. So this would give us better support to serve them more one-on-one. These are the 6 mindsets. So we'll kind of split it up and dive and explain what they are, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to apply them, okay? So let's start with life happens. So life happens, this mindset and this behavioral outcome is students that have circumstances that changed and they need a more flexible, affordable option in their life. Trading up is looking for a greater, prestigious, more rigor and advanced, maybe to like branch out, maybe move far away from home, or explore different opportunities and grow and branch out. Help wanted, these are more students that value maybe being challenged, or they need extra support, and maybe their previous institution, whether it's a 4-year community college, maybe didn't have those support services that they need. So this includes resources, career services, kind of all those extra touch points. Tutoring.
Absolutely. And then these last 3 here, so find my passion. These are the students that might have had a different change in program to meet their career goals, or they need a different degree, credential, etc. to be able to reach that career goal. Follow the plan. These are students that knew transferring was always the plan, usually transferring to a specific school location as well. And then the last one is our cost saver. So these are ones that are focused on affordability, focused on that ROI, the cost, and probably their aid as well. So any guesses on what our students said once we surveyed them? Which one do we think? Come on, Alex. What's a guess?
Probably the help wanted.
Help wanted, okay. Anybody else have a guess? We surveyed 157 students. Which one do you think they fall into? Anybody else?
Follow the plan, I'd say.
Follow the plan, I like it. All right. Cost saver, I like it, Vishnu. All right. So we surveyed again 157 transfer prospects, inquiries, and admins. And so we asked them a series of 7 different questions with corresponding responses to each mindset. So after surveying these students, we found that nearly 1 in 5 are in that Find My Passion, moving specifically because they want that better alignment with that career goal and that major. Follow the plan and life happens, we're actually even. 44 respondents for each, so 28% there. They prioritize that predictable, straightforward, efficient pathway there. So that fits their responsibilities or what's come up circumstance-wise. We also noticed that efficiency almost outweighed cost. So we were really surprised, I'm gonna be honest, that cost saver was 4.5%. That seems pretty low. I think it was like 7 students. The more we began to talk about it, obviously these students are valuing that efficiency and that time to degree, which actually factors in cost. And so even though it wasn't explicitly cost, those equate to cost there as well. So yeah, any questions about kind of the survey at all?
So they had to choose one only? Is that the top
They
one?
got 7 different questions, and so then they kind of chose answer responses to each of those questions. One of them was like, what does the school look like in your ideal like day to day? So like then one of those options would be like something that fits my schedule or something like that. And so after 7 different questions, we ended up calculating or had the math calculated, and we ended up finding our winners there. So they were actually tied. I do think there's some correlation between the two though as well. So, all right. So these are all great, and we love finding out and things. But like, what do we do with these? So we're gonna talk a little bit about implementation and strategy that we found out from all of this data, and then we'll go into specific mindsets as well of how we plan to use this and how you can too. So I'm gonna start off with some communication. So that's my thing. So tone and verbiage. So just across the board, whenever we're talking, honestly, to any students, I think it's a time for us to kind of shift from using parent, just because family dynamics look different for everybody. Supporter is a great term to use there, especially with our transfer students. Work with barriers and not fight against them. You're not going to know their exact barriers, so we're not calling that out, but we're inviting them to work with us, and we'll work with them. Okay, so accept that they've got responsibilities and they've got things, but we're going to fit around them instead of expecting them to fit around us. Career focus and outcomes. Highlight that data, highlight that job placement information, because at the end of the day, that's their plan. And so we've seen that in those students. So a couple of examples here. We'll see in our admissions materials that we do this a lot when we work with IMC, who's very present in the front row. And on top of that, we have a lot of invitations to go visit our platforms like My Admin or go see us for visit days. And so we want to highlight Campus ESP too. And so we want to highlight that importance to them by showing them that we're there to support. So timing modality is also very important. We do a healthy mix of text versus email with our transfers. They are more apt to be more respondent to a phone call. What we've noticed with our transfers though, they like a paper trail. They like to know, okay, this was my transfer coordinator that signed off here. This is the dates, the times, the deadlines. So we do a healthy mix there. It's good for us to know that what their decision process looks like as well. 48% of transfer students actually decide on where they want to go December of the prior year compared to 28% of freshmen. So they're deciding pretty early. Deadlines and dates. So compared to our freshman students, they have a longer timeline. Typically, we see a lot of applications come in the fall. We have them still for the spring, and then they come to orientation. So that's a long communication timeline for us. Transfer's a little bit different. Sometimes we'll see a lot of applications come in just a month or two before enrollment. So we need to make sure that we give them all the important things right up front, so they're not surprised if they fall into a drip campaign a little late. Then we have time of day and obligation. So just be mindful of when you're sending things to students. Sometimes these students have a lot of responsibilities. We've seen this, 21 or more hours, families, and so we found 3 or 4 o'clock is usually pretty good. Either the workday is winding down, they're leaving work, they're waiting to pick up their kids, etc. So just something that you can think about there. And I went over that. Last thing, segmentation. So again, transfers are all different, have different experiences, so let's just recognize that. Our online students, it's nice to separate them because they're not doing the same kind of coursework the same way. So we can kind of appeal to them a little bit differently. And same thing with their previous experience. Are they military? Let's tell them about all of the great things we've got, use some testimonials, etc. So.
All right, so how can we add mindsets in with communication? So what Morgan just talked about. So we just grabbed 3 of the mindsets so we didn't have to go through all of them. And so we chose life happens, find my passion, and follow the plan. So now we're gonna put that in action and break it down by messaging and how the tone should be in the messages, the hook, like kind of some verbiage of what you could use in there, and then the modality of how those should be sent depending on each of the mindsets.
All right, so starting off with life happens. So these are, again, the students that something has come up. We want to be empathetic and flexible with them in our tone because you don't know what that situation is completely, and it's important for us to kind of be open. And if that student wants to share, be that person for them. Kind of the hooks, one way that we can kind of open that up is, again, we fit into your life and we're not expecting you to completely fit into ours. Maybe we change a little bit, we're more open in our process, etc. So, and some of the modalities that we found work really well for this group is just some quick low pressure check-ins. They like to have a person in their corner, so helping them there. Find My Passion, these students are typically respondent to somebody that knows what they're talking about, is confident that even if you don't know and you need to pass the student along, know that that person is the person I'm passing it to. So one way we like to do this is, again, show them that their program, we have it here, the outcome for them, so giving them that experience, that hands-on, tangible thing that they will do here at the university, and then, again, some specific outcomes and data that are important to them.
All right, and follow the plan. This is more direct and logical thinking, and so students like to see maybe clear steps, and this can be done with checklists, progress bars, completion rates, kind of that modality. All right, so that covered our communications, and I'm going to talk about the applications and systems portions of this, and then we will then tie that into mindsets, all right? So I'm going to talk about event programming, credits and transcripts, and community college connections. So recommendations to keep in mind when we're working with students is time of day and adjusting of hours. I think we talked about it a little bit. Virtual options, and addressing their top concerns, as transfer students typically like to hear their questions asked without, maybe less extra fluff and things that other students may appreciate. Some examples of how we're going to mitigate this is we will be implementing next step prep, like webinars and videos for our transfer students, and these will be meeting them where they're at, whether in their application process and just curious on how to send transcripts, or just have questions or concerns about higher education. We can meet and just have open dialect conversation. Or if they've just recently been admitted and they're like, how do I get in touch with my advisor? We're just gonna be a voice for them and give them extra information, even though they get this information other ways, texts, emails. We are now gonna try this virtual option. We also like to include our advisors early on in the process, and anytime we talk about enrollment, we definitely have built a bridge with our advising team with admissions, which is huge for all student types, but transfers especially when we talk about degree planning with them. All right, credit and transcripts. Transparent transfer credit and providing access to help remove barriers or assist with those barriers, and how we are going to work on that, and what we do with this is transcript evaluations early on. So students do not have to be admitted to get this. They could be prospective students. They could reach out via email and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in UCM. I went to such and such school. How would it come in? Our transfer coordinator, Katie, will conduct this transcript evaluation for them, give them an idea of how their credits will transfer in. And when we send that, we also include their advisor and get them connected too. And we've also implemented transcript ordering outreach. And this is where I can order transcripts for community colleges that are in Missouri and Kansas that use National Student Clearinghouse. We can order and purchase them for the student if they give us their permission, which they get outreach about that as well. And this has helped with the barriers portion, kind of help remove the barriers. And some have gone to more schools. Sometimes that completes all of their checklist items and they can get admitted. Other times that takes care of like maybe 3/4 of their transcripts, and all they have to do is get one transcript. Kind of helps meet them in the middle. Community college connections. Don't ask, or don't guess, ask. We've learned this working with our example, but direct connect partners. When we've gone to visits and we meet with them, our Direct Connect program is wonderful in helping students transfer to UCM, but I think that next portion we're gonna talk about and maybe go into is like, how can we help these community colleges, like their staff, their students in their areas, maybe their faculty as well, and we can't assume what their problems are or assume what they need help with, so let's just ask and have this open conversation and be a good partner. And we also want to make sure we appreciate the student's journey. Not every transfer journey is linear, and we just got to appreciate where they come from, and this Direct Connect program very much helps with that. Okay, so putting mindsets to some of these programs, I chose to do Direct Connect and put mindsets directly with that program, and so let's talk about it. So I applied it to all 6, And so let's talk about life happens. How Direct Connect and Mindsets work for the life happens aspect is Direct Connect provides joint advising for both community college and our 4-year in UCM, and gives adaptive schedules and concurrent enrollment availability for maybe their life happens situations. Trading up, UCM offers a variety of locations, and we have really large student activity options, and these Direct Connect students can be involved in those. And we also have a variety of programs that they're not receiving at their community college. Help wanted in Direct Connect, we can use our tutoring, our resources, and our career coaching and support. When we went to Jefferson College maybe a month ago, we talked with them, and one of the things they were lacking is they just really need help with tutoring. Their tutoring services, they just don't have the capacity, so we can help with that. You want to take over?
All right, the last 3 here, find my passion. So with Direct Connect, one thing we can kind of appeal to these students is the fact that they can dive into some different major courses a little earlier on, however they decide to take those through UCM. They can also get involved with student organizations and involvement that relate to or enhance those career goals. Follow the plan so we can kind of help those students and give them transfer plans and career plans that help show that expedited process to degree completion. And then our cost saver, obviously Direct Connect helps them with the $2,000 scholarship that they get from the program. On top of that, we can help them highlight our other scholarship opportunities that we have, help them clarify our aid packages, open up our financial aid counselors, etc. So, all right, so we put together what we were calling our takeaway framework here in the spirit of Campus Success Summit. It's our Success Sister Framework. You can call it whatever you want. What we've noticed is we're subconsciously doing this. And so, yeah, fantastic. We're subconsciously doing this without knowing. And so what we wanted to do is put this into a visual representation of where our minds are going to help solve pain points and actually find solutions. So first thing here is kind of that objective. So what's the problem or concern we're hoping to address here? Kind of the main overarching issue, pain point. Consideration, who's at the focus? Who's our target? What's their background? What's their story? So we want to get kind of a full scope on who we're serving in regards to this problem or area.
All right, step 3 is solution. How can we make this beneficial change? And keeping in mind our population that we're trying to serve and what the problem is. And step 4 is the outcome. What was the result of our efforts? And how can we adjust or improve in the future? So now, again, let's put this in action. So we took a problem or a situation in our office and we wanted to apply it and use our framework that we created to give you guys an idea of what this looks like. So we are going to use moving missed transfer applications to a later term as our action plan. So applying the objective, again, that is what's the problem? What do we hope to fix? This is transfers that missed their applied term. So they specifically got admitted but didn't enrolled. What this means for UCM staff, this would mean, well, the student would have to reapply and be seen again. So our admissions processing team would have to re-review an application twice. So that was the objective. The consideration, who is the target? This is specifically a subgroup of transfers of those that missed the apply window or the enrolled window. And for us as staff, we know that there was an interest, right? They applied, they submitted all their transcripts, they got admitted, but then life happened or something happened and they missed that enrollment period and now they're not able to get enrolled for that semester. And for a lot of students, this can put like a feeling behind them of that they feel overwhelmed or defeated, or it's not possible because they missed that step, and sometimes an application can seem daunting. And they would benefit from little to no barriers, and we can help remove this by what we came up with our solution.
All right, so let's talk about it. So we have a campaign that we started doing, our collab together, It's called a 1-2-3 campaign, communication, whatever you want to call it. So it's a primarily text messaging campaign with email follow-up. So what happens here, each number is a choice. And so we'll say, hey, Ellen, you missed fall 25 term, but that's okay. We'd love to help you take the next step. Reply with one of these numbers, and we'll move your application to spring, summer, or we'll cancel it because it helps us know if you're not interested, we'll go ahead and move on and stop bugging you. So all they have to do is reply back. We're, again, eliminating those barriers and helping them there. And so then after the solution, we obviously assess the outcome here. And so what we saw from moving our fall 2025 applications to a previous forward term, 55% of transfers that were in this communication actually ended up enrolling in the future term. So we found it very successful for our office and our spring numbers. We also use this process and continue to expand this to populations that are applied but not admitted yet. So they just need a little bit more materials so we can actually make that decision. Same thing, we can move them and then help them get those materials in. Last thing, and just some revamped, clear follow-up communications, because it's important to assess, but if we keep doing the same thing and not make any improvements, we'll never grow. So kind of show you what that looks like. So when we get down to it, we've got our text message here. Again, we always like to have, for their sake, for that paper trail, kind of the transfer coordinator signing off there so they know this is the name, this is their number, we can reply back in this chain. But all they have to do is reply back with a single number and we'll take care of the rest for them. We've greatly enhanced our follow-up emails, and so I'm very proud of the progress we've made, trying to make it easy to read, digestible. We know that these students have a lot going on. They don't have the time for the fluff. So we're gonna give it to them. This is where we're at. Here's where you're going. Let's get you there. So nothing, we don't need to get too crazy or in the weeds. And again, that sign-off's important so they know who to contact and can contact straight from there. Any question on kind of how that worked? Yeah? So here we're scheduling our enrollment appointment here. We like a one simple, quick call to action. So again, that connection with those advisors will help them get to that next step.
All right. Final thoughts and kind of wrapping up everything we've talked about. One size does not fit all. Every transfer student is unique, regardless if they have an assigned mindset. We just need to start moving beyond the generic messaging and realize that there's a person behind each of our applications, and life circumstances and goals vary from person to person. Recognizing our leading populations in our community of the sample size that we did, the Following the Plan and Life Happen groups were the most prominent, making up a combined 56% of the transfer students. And utilize the Success Sister framework, or whatever you would like to call the framework, to help tackle some problems that you may have that you need to break down and find a solution for. Because even without a formal mindset, assessment for every student is important, and for offices, so you can overcome some of those pain points.
And I'll say too, we did this for transfers. We'd love to expand this to other populations. I've talked to Jared a little bit with our freshmen as well. It looks different for everybody, but just at least knowing the mindsets for the transfer population, you keep those in mind. And we hope to work with Anne on her transfer survey so we can infuse some of this mindset ideas so we can kind of capture the same information there. So. And a final thought, because this template would not let me have one more. As faculty and staff, I think it's important that we can be supportive and empathetic no matter where they're at. But I'd like us to kind of keep this last thing in mind, fitting into a student's life rather than expecting them to fit into ours. So whatever that looks like for you, if it's your processes, if it's your communications, try to think about what that student is going through and their responsibilities. So, and with that, questions? Oh, no. he didn't add it, but.
Well, there should be a slide on here that has the QR code for the virtual session evaluation. So while we pull that up, let me see if there's any other questions for the group. If not, there will be a QR code that shows up here on the screen. Please feel free to fill out that evaluation. Let us know about this session today. If you'd like a paper evaluation, we have those as well. For those that are online, please feel free to scan the QR code. Thank you all for joining. We really, really appreciate you all. Yes, question?
Yeah, I have a question. So you were mentioning verbiage early on and the importance of certain words or avoiding or using. Some years ago, we heard that affordable was actually a negative connotation because people heard that as something of a value judgment, or you don't understand my personal finances, but you're pretending to. And so do we still see that with our populations, transfer or otherwise, or and so words like manageable being more important versus it's affordable?
Yeah, and so and they know that too, because especially with our students from community colleges, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but perceptions do matter, and so sometimes they think a community college is less value because it has been domed as the affordable option. So I think that's definitely still true, but there's ways that we show the value without. We kind of stay away from affordable ourselves. We emphasize scholarship values and emphasize awards, but we kind of focus and have been continuing to focus on the outcomes and the ROI rather than affordable, because I do think affordability also, again, connects with that community college, and not that all students are ashamed, but there's a lot of data in like a national perception on that being an affordable, less valued option. So absolutely.
Yeah, we tend to use value a little bit more in our messaging.
Hopefully that answered a little bit. But any other questions? Okay, Jared. Oh. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending.